Okay, welcome to everyone to this series of webinar about the DYDAS platform. This is the first of four webinar that will explain how to work with data on DYDAS platform. And particularly today we are going to see what is data, what is DYDAS, and which kind of data DYDAS handle, and how to upload them, download them, and view them in the platform. So let's start with a brief introduction of DYDAS. So the DYDAS project aims to create a big data platform for handling geospatial data, providing the user the ability to upload their own data, to work with them, and giving access to the user to a set of tools for modeling those data, and also the ability to exchange them and sell them on the marketplace, as well as also work with the user own code written in Python, and that will be executed inside the HPC platform of HPC infrastructure of DataS. So the first thing, this is the preview. So today we're going to see the preview of DataS that is accessible to the public. And this is the login page. And from here, you can register your own account. Of course, I still have one, but it's a simple registration flow. So you go fill here and you can register yourself. So let's go back, and once the registration process is done, you can enter and log in inside the platform. So once you enter your credential, this is the main page, and basically it gives an overview of all the projects that the user have, all the operation that has been done on the different projects. For example, you can see here there are operation project 1, there is this one, and demo, there is this one. Of course, those are the ID of the project. Sorry. Those are the ID of the project, and this is just the name. So of course, demo is the same as demo 00. And you can also see other metrics here. For example, the published project, the contributed project, but we'll see them later in the other webinars when we will talk about the marketplace, the models, etc. So once you're here, you have here on the left side menu different options, and of course for the marketplace we'll see, like I said in the other webinar, but here you have simple settings about the profile account, the orders done for by other projects, for example, and different preferences for the account. So those are classic settings for the user profile. What we are going to see today is the projects part. So as you can see, you have workspace and project. In workspace, you can actually edit project, you can create new ones, etc. And we are going to see that. Here on project, you have just an overview of your project, and differently from workspace, you can just only view the project here and get the fast information. Instead, in the workspace, you can actually work with them. So as you can see here, you have the edit for start working with the project. But let's create a new one. We're going to call it, for example, demo DYDAS. Here, as you can see, the project ID is automatically generated. Simple demo. The description is required, and now you have to choose between three types of project. You have dataset, where you can actually only import your data and download them and fast view them but you don't have access to the models for for run your own code on the HPC infrastructure of DYDAS. Inside the model, you have only the part to work with your own algorithms in the HPC infrastructure, but you can't actually import data or dataset. Instead, in this scenario, you have both of those, so you can actually upload your data on the dataset. You can view them in the dashboard. You can also run your own code. So we're going to choose this one because it's the more complete. Now, area of interest you can choose, but it's not required. What is your area of interest of this project, for example? If you're talking about transportation networks or land cover, etc. Uh, we are not going to insert that since it's not required. Also, the keyword here, you can actually insert your own keyword, and this will be used for in the indexing your project inside the marketplace. And also, you can choose a logo that basically is an image for the project. Okay, but those are not required, so we're not going to insert them. Let's make a new project. As you can see, every operation that is requested, there will be a notification that say the request is sent, and when it's ready, as you saw that there was a notification to say, okay, the operation is completed and the project is ready to be used. So let's start to edit this project. Okay, as you can see, now we have other fields. Those are this is the menu of the project, and has all the operation that you can do on the project. So here is a summary that basically is an overview of all the dataset models, dashboard, and contributors that are other people that can work with this project. And also the project type, the status is published or not. In this case, is local, so is not published, and the owner. Now, in details, you can just edit some of those information. Of course, not everything. Once you create a scenario project, you cannot edit this one. You must create a new one or delete this if you want to change the type. And as well as the project ID cannot be changed. Of course, area of interest, keywords, description, and the name can always be changed. Here in contributors, you see, since I'm the only one, I'm the only one contributor, but I'm also the owner. If I want to add the other contributors, I can just put their email here, and a request will be sent via email, and they can accept. And in case they're registered, they will be just added here, and they can start edit with this project. But if they're not registered, they will be redirected to registration page. Now, let's see the dataset parts. Okay, now as you can see, I don't have dataset. Okay, so what I can do is simply create a new dataset. Okay, here I can also search for open dataset. Okay, those are datasets that are already in the platform and that are available to the public to be imported by the user with the simple button. And once I import the dataset, I can simply work with them in the models, meaning I can only read them, but I cannot edit them. But we'll see that when we talk about the marketplace a little bit in more detail in the next webinar. Now, so what I want to do is add a new dataset here. Okay, so I choose a name. For example, since I got some data that we will upload, I know that this dataset will contain Italy regions. Okay, so as well, dataset D will be automatically created. Here I can add an image. Okay, so I'm gonna search my wait. I don't find Okay. Yeah, I was looking for the another name. Okay, here, for example, I want to add this image, simple PNG image, just as logo of the dataset. In description, simple Italy regions vector data. Okay. Okay, now we have to choose the license. The license type is, of course, you have different choose between different licenses, and we are going to use Apache license. You can also change the name and upload your own license, but we're not going to do that. We're just using Apache license. And now the important part is to choose the typology. So what is the typology? Basically, is the typology of the data. Meaning we can have inside the platform different kind of data. We have geospatial data that are basically that contains coordinates, okay, to some SRID. So basically, uh, the spatial data are all those kind of data that can be vector or raster, but that has some geographical reference inside them. In the typology time series is a typology of data that just contain information about the time, okay, but they don't have information about the geography, okay. For example, if we are working with IoT devices that are placed, for example, around the city, we know the position since it's static of each device. Maybe we don't need the spatial information since we already know where each device is. Device for with their ID, we can know their position. So basically, we can just use time series in case we want to take the sensor information from each device and upload it here. Instead, if you want to have both information and our data contain both information, geospatial and time, we can, of course, use geospatial time series typology. Okay, so we have a geographic reference, we have a time reference, and yeah, we use this one. Instead, if we don't have just spatial reference, we don't have time reference, we simply use the simple format. For example, if we have data in Excel that are not geographically referenced and there is no time information, we simply use a simple typology. So in our case, since I will upload a vector and we'll see it soon, I choose type geospatial. Now, I can choose, of course, raster or vector here. In my case, I have a vector file, so I will choose vector. Now, the attributes. Well, the attributes, it's what basically what properties you will you will upload in this dataset. Okay, and this is one of the most important part when creating a dataset, because first you cannot delete or add new attributes once the dataset is created, and uh, basically you can see this as creating columns for a relational database. Okay, it's an analogy, but it will make it more clear what these fields are. And when you want to upload some data, okay, you want to know which kind of fields you will have here. So I'm gonna show you an example. I'm gonna take this this file that is the file that I wanna open and I wanna import in DYDAS. Okay, it's a GeoJSON file, so it's a vector file, and as you can see here, you have all the coordinates for a feature. Okay, but those attributes, okay, refers to these fields, the properties in a GeoJSON file, okay? And So you have geometry, okay, but because and you cannot change that because you choose geospatial. If you choose for example time series, you will have just timestamp, and you can just change it with date. But basically, you don't have geometry because the time series topology, as we said before, doesn't contain geospatial information. In geospatial and vector, you have geometry as obligate as required field, and you have well all those coordinates, okay, are basically one geometry, okay, because they belongs to one feature in a feature collection. And now you want to insert all the other properties, okay. So in our example, we have, for example, region name. Okay, so we add a region name, and we know that the field is a type string because he has the quotes, and yeah. Then we have another field that is range instant code num. Okay, and we know that field is a integer. Okay, or a long, but it's basically short. So is an integer, and we have the region instant code that is also, well, could be an integer, but since there are quotes, it's a string. So we put it as string, okay? And we could also do that in case we have a lot more properties. We could also import them by specifying here, okay, a JSON-like object, for example, saying range name and then string, okay, and so on, okay. In case, but since we have only three fields, we don't actually need to do that. This. Then once we declare all the properties that we will have in our dataset, another important thing, if we don't declare one of those, okay, supposing we have another property here, okay, but we don't declare it here, it will be not imported in our dataset. So basically, this one act also like a filter, okay, and yeah. So now, after we choose the attribute and declare what attributes will be there when we'll upload the data, we have to choose a style, and we can choose from default or custom. I will choose default, yeah, default SLD, and you can also see it here, the default SLD style, but I'm fine with it. I will not change that, so we can just validate, and of course it's valid. And we have here other not non-required fields, but like I told you before, they are a little bit important when the user wanna search for your data set, for your data inside the marketplace. And so, for example, here you can choose the different tags, meaning what kind of data will be inside your dataset. Maybe we have information about education, training, or research. Okay, but since we have environment information, we can choose environment. Okay, also maybe yeah, just this one, I guess. Maybe also culture. And then we have a reference area that is basically you can insert here uh, vocabulary about the area that will be covered in your data. For example, we could insert here vocabulary about the Italy, okay? So that will this, like I told you, will speed up the indexing and the search for the user in case they are searching for a particular data. But will not see it will not insert it here. Also, the reference volume is the number of record that you will expect to be in this dataset. Also, this one is not required. You can upload as many records as you want, but it's just useful for users that are looking your project or dataset in the marketplace. So we save our dataset. As you can see, we must wait for the response from, okay. Now the platform responds and we have a success. So we actually can now start to use this dataset. Like I told you, we have now different options. We can download our dataset, but it's not useful since it's empty. We can upload data inside our dataset, or we can edit dataset. For example, we can edit some information. Like I told you, you cannot change everything. For example, this part, the typology, the data type, and the attributes are immutable. Okay. But for example, you can change your style, you can change your license type, etc. So let's start by uploading some file. Now, for uploading, you have to choose a zip file that contains some file inside of it. For example, I'm gonna choose this one. That is basically a zip of this one, this file one. That is a GeoJSON. Okay. Now, once I upload this zip, the platform asks me, okay, what file format are you going to upload me inside of this zip? Well, in my case, is a GeoJSON, so I choose GeoJSON. Of course, those formats changes in depending of if is a vector or a raster. Okay, for example, for vector, we have GeoJSON shapefile, and there will be available soon CapMZ and CapML. So for example, for now we choose GeoJSON. Now we must insert our projection, okay, which is the reference system of our geospatial data. In our case, it is OGG26. And the file adding mode, now in a vector case like this, append and insert are basically the same, since append you just put inside data of the database without changing everything that was already there. In a raster example, with insert, okay, for example, if you have a raster of Rome, okay, a point of Rome, and you want to upload in a specific time, okay, and you want to upload another raster with exactly the same geospatial information and time information, since you can upload just one raster for a geospatial case, you must insert, or if you do append, you will get an error, but we'll see that really soon. And overwrite basically erase all the previous data on the dataset and upload the new one. Well, in our case, it's useless since it's empty, so we just can do append. Okay, now we are uploading our data. Okay, now the dataset is successfully uploaded, and we can already download the dataset, or we can just have a quick preview of our dataset. Okay, this is like you can see the attributes that are are set in the dataset, and if you click on preview, you can see a fast preview of the data that are inside the dataset. Okay, in our case, since it was simply Italy regions, you have all the Italy regions. This quick preview has some tools that you can use. Okay, for example, clicking on the info box here, you can click on a region, and you will see the information about the region. In our case, we can see this is the region instance code 09, instance code number 9, and the region name Toscana. And here you have all the information. For example, you have Basilicata, and here you have Sicilia. Okay. And you can also change the layer. Okay, for example, if I don't wanna the satellite information, or if I don't want the topo map or OpenStreetMap, just blank space, I can have it. Okay. Uh, you can also change the reference system here. Okay, for example, I want the map more stretched. Yeah, and I have map here. Okay, as you can see, is a little bit more stretched. Okay, but it's just another APSG. Okay. Yeah, this is just the preview information. Here you can also choose an area, okay, of interest to calculate the size of this area, okay, and yeah, those are basically the tools that there are inside of this preview, okay. This one you can choose to have a quick view of the size of another area. Okay, now after we do this, we can also download our dataset. Okay, if we want to see again in our JSON format, or if we want to change the format. Okay, like I told you, now you have only GeoJSON, but you can also export in shapefile or soon KML, KMZ. But we want to download in GeoJSON. And what I want to do is also download just a part of this GeoJSON. Okay, so I want to filter the data that I want to download. In our case, I want to download just from the Lazio to Sicily. Okay, so just this part. Okay, maybe I also took a little bit of Sardinia. And okay, I can now request the download of this data. Okay, now the dataset is successfully downloaded and I can download it from here. Okay, now this is the old one. Look at it. Okay, I'm going to open it. It's a simple GeoJSON file, okay, that I will open in Google Chrome to show you. Okay, this is the new downloaded file. And if we want to show, look, for example, if it's actually the GeoJSON that we downloaded, we can do. Okay, we can pass it here. Hopefully this site doesn't crash since maybe I have some internet problems. No, it's just the website that is not. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, yeah. There is actually the filter that we applied before. Okay, as you can see, we have only part of those of the Italy region, and yeah, that's basically what DYDAS allows you to do during the download phase. Now, we saw about vector and geospatial data. Now we try to add a new dataset of type raster. Okay, so I'm going to see raster. Okay, see raster image. See the license told Apache. The typology. Now, typology, since we have information both about the space and time, we can also use just partial time series. Okay, we have raster data, and okay, for the style here you have more choose. For example, I wanna choose here the grayscale. Okay, but I know that uploading image is already in grayscale, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna save. Okay, now I wanna upload a zip file. This one. Okay, that is basically a zip file, but it's well, it's a TIFF file, but it's zipped. So this is just the name. The file that I'm going to upload, like I told you, is a GeoTIFF. And as you can see here, we have a little bit more choose. We have GRIB, NetCDF, HDF4, HDF5. But we have GeoTIFF. The projection is always APS-G. This way. And yeah, here also we have the empty data, so we'll upload this one. For the spatial time series, the time series information for a raster-like data must be inside must be the name of the GLT file, not of the zip file. Okay. So the zip in the TIFF inside the zip has the full name. There is something like 1659, etc. There is a timestamp, so there are milliseconds from epoch. Okay, so now we just uploaded our data. We can see it in our preview like before. And as you can see, this is our grayscale of an image of the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and well, like before, you have all the tool to change the the preview, and you also have here the information, but since of course is a raster, you just have the information about the scale. So in our case, you have a grid index of this, and if you go in area more white here, you have a different grayscale. Okay, and yeah. And like before, we can also download this file and we can choose the format, or if you want to do it in another format. And here, since we are in a timestamp time series file, just partial time series, we can also choose a time interval for our data to be downloaded. Okay, supposing you have 10 days of raster and you want to download just some of them, you choose an interval of time, and here you choose an interval like before of space. Okay, and but I'm not gonna load it since I can show you because I have to open it with QGIS or something since it's a raster format. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much everything there is about the dataset in DYDAS. One more thing that we will use also in other webinars is just the operation log that basically shows all the operation made by a user in one or more projects. For example, you see here we have the project, this one that is the one that we are currently using. We did an upload data set, and you can see all the actions. Okay, we request the uploading of data, and then the data has been uploaded, etc. And this is important, as we can see in the later in the model webinar, because we can also see the error, for example, and we can actually debug what happened. And yeah, we'll see more later in other webinars. Okay, so thank you very much for everyone that listened this webinar, and see you in the next episode. Okay, bye.